So today we've got a few different movements, and we're going to be doing them all Tabata style. So it'll start with Tabata weighted squat, and then you'll go into a minute of rest, and then you have Tabata L-sit with a minute of rest, Tabata bent over row with a minute of rest, Tabata handstand hold, then a minute of rest, and finally Tabata burpees. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. Tabata is a 20-second on, 10-second off scheme. So you're going to work for that 20-second time frame, and then you'll rest for 10 seconds for 8 rounds or a total of 4 minutes. So after that 4 minutes of that single movement, so you'll start with that weighted squat, you'll then have a minute rest. Each movement, we're going to go over here. We've got that weighted squat. You can do a sandbag, dog food, backpack weighted with something, or if you have your dumbbell, totally fine as well. So points of performance on the squat, guys, we're going to have that weighted object. So however we decide to hold that, we want to make sure that we're staying nice and upright in that squat as best we can. Okay, we're going to initiate that movement back with our hips. Okay, driving our knees out, and making sure that we're keeping in contact with the floor at all times with our heels, and then not allowing that weight to move us forward or back. Okay, so then we have the L-sit. Do a little bit of elevation there. We're going to have our legs extended out in front of us, preferably with the feet above parallel, so we're over that hip crease. If you can't maintain that, you can bring the knees in. The closer to your chest the knees are, the easier that movement will be. Another option would be to bring that down to the ground. So instead of pressing out and elevating yourself, you're going to have yourself in a seated position with your legs extended. We just want to make sure that our torso is forward as best we can to simulate that L-sit properly. Okay, anchoring your hands out in front of you, about where they would be lined up with your knees. It makes it a little easier to think about that way. Again, legs out extended as far as you can makes that a harder movement. Bringing your knees in is a scaling option there as well. And then we have the bent over row. So we're going to do a single dumbbell on this one, guys. So you're going to do one arm for each round. So again, we have a total of 8 rounds. So you'll do 4 on one side, 4 on the other. So you'll alternate per round, but not within that 20 seconds. So you'll do a whole 20 seconds on one arm. On this one, we're going to be in a bent over position. So you want to give yourself a good setup with that. Feet should be flat on the ground, nice loose knees, okay? Hips back, and keeping your midline nice and tight. You want to be good and braced for this. And then all we're doing is having that dumbbell at full extension, bringing it up to our body, keeping the elbow nice and tight to the body. So that should be coming to you right around your rib cage. Okay, make contact, control, bring it back down, and you will do one arm for a full 20 seconds and then switch for the next round. Then we have the handstand hold. Press out through the floor, but we want to make sure that rib cage is tucked. We have active hips through this movement, and we are thinking, pressing, getting nice and long through this. So score is total seconds on this one. So if you can maintain that whole 20 seconds, awesome. But feel free to break if need be. I would definitely scale it down to something that you're able to do for larger chunks. So scaling option for this one would be to bring it down to an object, bring it down to something like a chair or your couch you can put your feet on. Again, we want to make sure we're stacked in this position. So If lowering yourself, we still want to try and get those hips up over our shoulders as best we can. And then you can always bring it down to the floor and hold in that pike position. So, and then finally, we have Tabata burpees. So again, chest and thighs touching the ground. We're either hopping up and clapping, or we can step up or down on this as well. If you guys have any scaling questions for you individually or generally speaking, reach out to us. We're happy to help. And with that, I'm going to get into the warm-up.